Ever wondered how mastering the present perfect can transform your English skills? Join us on a fun journey with Present Perfect Mastery, where we break down this essential phrase pattern into bite-sized pieces. This video is perfect for English learners, whether you're a student, a parent helping your child, or even a curious podcast listener. We'll delve into the explanations from Raymond Murphy's English Grammar in Use, highlighting key differences you'll find on page 16 and guiding you through engaging exercises on page 17. Imagine learning grammar with stories and interactive segments that make it all come alive. You'll gain clarity on how to use the present perfect, understand its nuances, and even see real-life examples that resonate with you. Don't miss out on mastering one of the most important aspects of English grammar. Ready to take your English to new heights? Click to explore Present Perfect Mastery and start your fun learning adventure today. Hello, language lovers. It's your favorite English coach, Patricia. Welcome back to the English Podcast Pattern, your fun-filled, deep dive destination for learning English. Today, we're going to unravel a fascinating phrase pattern that can sometimes be a little tricky to understand. Yes, you guessed it. It's the present perfect tense. We'll break it down, do some exercises, and make sure you can explain it like a pro. If you're a beginner, or if English still feels like a mystery, don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll be an expert. Promise. Let's jump right in. Alright, first thing first. Let's talk about what the present perfect is and how it works. It's easy to remember. We form the present perfect with two simple parts. The verb have, or has for he, she, or it, and the past participle of the verb, like been, done, eaten, etc. So here's an example. I say, I have eaten lunch. What does that mean? Well, the action of eating lunch happened at some point in the past, but it's connected to now. Maybe I'm not hungry anymore, or I'm telling you about it right now. It's important because we're talking about a period that includes the past and continues to the present moment. For example, imagine Dave says, "Have you traveled a lot, Jane?" Jane answers, "Yes, I have been to many countries such as Italy, Switzerland, and Austria in Europe, Thailand, Indonesia, and the Philippines in Asia, and Kenya, Tanzania, and South Africa in Africa." Each place has unique cultures, landscapes, and people that make it special and memorable. What about you, Dave? Have you had any interesting travels? Yes, I have traveled to various countries myself. I've been to Thailand, Korea, and Japan in Asia, and to Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina in South America. I also went on a road trip throughout Canada and the United States. Each place has its own unique culture, cuisine, and attractions. I'm grateful for all the experiences I've had and people I've met while traveling. Jane replies, "That sounds amazing, Dave. It's wonderful to be able to experience different cultures and try new things." In this conversation, Jane is talking about her life so far, including all the places she has visited, from the past until now. This is the present perfect in action. Pretty simple, right? Now, let's look at some more examples to see how this works in action. Check it out. I have never been to Canada. Have you seen the new movie yet? She has read that book 3 times. We haven't had any problems today. Notice something interesting? We often use the present perfect to talk about experiences or actions that have happened at an unspecified time in the past. And those actions still have an effect on the present. Now let's break it down further. Here's the key difference. The present perfect is different from the simple past. In the present perfect, the time isn't specified, like in, I have eaten dinner. We don't know exactly when it happened, just that it did at some point in the past, and it has a connection to the present. But in the simple past, like, I ate dinner, we're talking about something that happened at a specific time in the past, and it doesn't connect to now. Let's quickly review the uses of the present perfect. The first experiences. Have you ever eaten caviar? The second recent actions. I've just finished my homework. The third action's continuing into the present. She has worked here for 5 years. But guess what? There's even more. Let's now look at the exciting part. Expressing the idea of first time, second time, and so on. This is where the present perfect really shines. For example, if it's your first time doing something like driving a car, we say, "This is the first time I have driven a car." Notice we use the present perfect, not the simple past, because this is something happening right now in your life. Okay, now let's get to the fun part of the video. It's time for a challenge. Are you ready? Let's do some exercises together. I'll say a sentence, and you have to guess whether we should use the present perfect or the simple past. Are you ready? Let's go. I see him at the party last night. Answer is, I saw him at the party last night. Here we use simple past. Action completed at a specific time in the past. I eat sushi before. Answer is, I have eaten sushi before. Here we use present perfect. Experience at an unspecified time in the past. We and I never be to New York. Answer is, we have never been to New York. Here we use present perfect. Life experience with never. How did you do? Whether you got them all right or learned something new, you're now one step closer to mastering the present perfect. This tense is super useful in English, and when you get the hang of it, you'll sound like a native speaker in no time. We hope you had fun learning and practicing with us. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video if you found it helpful. If you want more exercises, tips, and examples, make sure to subscribe to English Podcast Pattern for more awesome lessons. Today's lesson is all about mastering the present perfect tense, the one that shows how past experiences connect with our present. We'll work through several exercises from page 17 of Raymond Murphy's English Grammar in Use, including questions with ever, completing responses with the right verbs, writing about yourself, and even filling in real-life situations. Ready to dive in? Let's go. Let's do exercise 8.1. Ask about experiences. We use ever in present perfect questions to ask if someone has had an experience at any time in their life. Let's see some examples. The first sentence, have you ever ridden a horse? We use the present perfect to talk about experiences that happened at an unspecified time in the past. The exact time isn't important. What matters is whether the experience has ever occurred up to now. Use of ever is an adverb used in questions to emphasize at any time in your life. It opens up the whole span of past experience. Why it's used. Experience inquiry. The question asks if the listener has ever experienced horseback riding. Unspecified time. Since there is no reference to a specific time, like last summer, the focus is on the overall experience. When to use. When you want to know if someone has had a particular experience at any point in their life, for example, when planning a horseback riding trip or comparing past leisure activities. The second sentence, have you ever been to California? Formula, have plus subject, you, plus ever, plus past participle, been. Verb. Form, been is the past participle of be, often used in the expression been to when talking about visiting a place. Present perfect tense. This tense emphasizes life experience without pinning down when it occurred. Use of ever. Here, ever, broadens the question to include all possible times in the listener's life. Why it's used. Visiting places. Been to is a common phrase that means visited. The question asks if the person has had the experience of visiting California. No specific time. We aren't asking, when did you go? But rather, have you experienced it at any point? When to use when discussing travel experiences or planning future trips. It's a friendly way to ask about someone's travel history. The third sentence, have you ever run a marathon? We use the present perfect tense because of endurance experience. The question focuses on whether the listener has ever participated in the challenging experience of running a marathon. General inquiry. It doesn't matter if the marathon was completed recently or years ago. The focus is solely on the experience. When to use. When discussing sports, personal challenges, or health and fitness experiences. It's a common question in conversations about running or endurance events. The fourth sentence, have you ever spoken to a famous person? Formula, have plus subject, you, plus ever plus past participle, spoken, plus preposition, to plus object, a famous person. Why it's used, conversation experience. The question asks if the person has had the unique experience of conversing with someone famous. Unspecified moment. There is no need to mention when the conversation occurred. The emphasis is on whether it ever happened. When to use. In casual conversations about celebrity encounters. When discussing unusual or memorable experiences. The fifth sentence is, what's the most beautiful place you have ever visited? Formula. What's contraction of what is, plus superlative noun phrase, the most beautiful place, plus relative clause, you have ever visited. The clause, you have ever visited, uses the present perfect to cover all the places the listener might have visited over their lifetime. Superlative construction. The most beautiful place asks the listener to choose the single best experience from among many. Why it's used. Evaluating experiences. The question is not just about having visited places, but about evaluating them and picking the one that stands out as the most beautiful. Connection to present. It implies that the memory of that visit still has an impact on the listener. When to use. When you want someone to share their most impressive travel or life experience. It's a great question for travel conversations or when planning a dream trip. General notes on using ever with present perfect. Indefinite time. Reference: the present perfect doesn't specify when something happened. It only matters that it has happened at some point. Ever reinforces this by covering the entire lifespan of experiences. Experience focus. These questions are often used to gather information about someone's experiences, making them ideal for social conversations, interviews, or travel discussions. Unspecified timing. Because no specific time is mentioned, the listener is free to think of any time in the past, be it last year, during childhood, or even recently. Remember, using ever invites the speaker to think about all their past experiences without specifying when they happened. Let's move on to Exercise 8.2, Complete B's answers. Some sentences are positive and some negative. Completing answers with the right verbs. Use these verbs, be, eat, happen, have, meet, play, read, see, try. Now, let's complete some responses. I'll show you the sentence, then reveal the correct answer and explain why. The first question, what's Mark's sister like? Answer, I've no idea. I've never met her. Explanation, never met tells us the speaker has not experienced meeting her yet. We use the present perfect tense, I've never met her. The never is used to indicate something has not happened at any time in the past. Why present perfect? The present perfect is used here because the speaker's lack of experience, meeting Mark's sister, extends from the past up to the present. When to use. Use the present perfect for experiences when the specific time is unknown or unimportant. The speaker expresses that at no point in their life have they met Mark's sister, and this remains true at present. The second question, is everything going well? Answer, yes, we haven't had any problems so far. Explanation, haven't had emphasizes that up to now, no problems have occurred. We use present perfect negative haven't had. This indicates that no problems have occurred from the past up to now. Use of so far. This phrase emphasizes that the situation is being viewed up to the present moment, making present perfect the correct tense. Why not past simple? If we said, "We didn't have any problems," it would imply a finished period in the past rather than an ongoing situation. The speaker is saying that everything has been going smoothly up to the present time. The third question, are you hungry? Answer, yes, I've eaten too much today. Explanation, have eaten shows that the action, eating, has an effect on the current feeling of fullness. We use the present perfect. The eating happened earlier today, but its effect, feeling full, is still present. Why not past simple? If we said, I ate too much today, it would refer to a finished past action without highlighting its present effect. Use of today. Since today is still ongoing, present perfect is preferred. The speaker's eating earlier in the day affects their current state of fullness. The Fortin question. Can you play chess? Answer. Yes, but I haven't played for ages. Explanation. Haven't played indicates that although the skill is there, the recent experience is missing. We use the present perfect negative to suggest an absence of action from the past until now. Use of for ages. This phrase means for a long time and requires present perfect because the period extends up to the present. Why not past simple? I didn't play for ages would indicate that the situation was true only in the past, but may have changed. The speaker knows how to play chess, but has not done so in a long time. The fifth question. Are you enjoying your holiday? Answer, yes, it's the best holiday I've had for a long time. Explanation, I've had links the holiday experience from the past to the present enjoyment. Present perfect, I've had. Suggests that this holiday, compared to past holidays, is the best. Superlative structure. The best holiday I've had is a common structure for comparing experiences. Use of for a long time. Present perfect is required because the phrase implies a duration up to now. The speaker considers this holiday to be the best compared to their previous ones. The sixth question. What's that book about? Answer. I don't know, I haven't read it. Explanation. Haven't read clearly states that the speaker hasn't experienced reading the book. We use the present perfect negative. Indicates that the speaker has not completed the action of reading at any time up to now. Why not past simple? I didn't read it would imply a specific past event where the speaker had a chance but chose not to read it. The speaker is unaware of the book's contents because they have never read it. The seventh question, is Brussels an interesting place? Answer, I've no idea. I haven't been there. Explanation, haven't been is used when talking about places one has not visited. We use present perfect used for life experiences. Why not past simple? I didn't go there would refer to a specific past instance, while present perfect refers to life experience. The speaker lacks knowledge about Brussels because they have never visited it. The eighth statement. I heard your car broke down again yesterday. Response. Yes, it's the second time it has happened this month. Explanation. We use has happened to emphasize the repeated event affecting the current situation. Present perfect, has happened, used for repeated actions within a time period that includes the present. Why not past simple? It was the second time it happened would imply the situation is entirely in the past. The breakdowns are ongoing, making present perfect the correct choice. The ninth question. Do you like caviar? Answer. I don't know. I haven't tried it. Explanation. Haven't tried shows that the experience of tasting caviar is still pending. We use the present perfect negative. This indicates a missing life experience. Why not past simple? I didn't try it would imply a specific occasion in the past. The speaker doesn't have an opinion on caviar because they have never tasted it. The 10th statement. Mike was late for work again today. Response. Again? Don't be late every day this week. Explanation. This is a suggestion or mild rebuke, noting a recurring behavior over a period. We use present simple, don't be late, used for general advice. Use of every day this week refers to a pattern in the present time frame. The speaker is frustrated with repeated lateness and advises against it. The 11th question, who's that woman by the door? Answer, I don't know. I haven't met her before. Explanation. Haven't met tells us the speaker hasn't been introduced to her until now. We use the present perfect negative to indicate the action has never occurred before now. Use of before emphasizes that the event has not happened at any time in the past. The speaker does not recognize the woman due to never meeting her. All right, let's do exercise 8.3. Write 4 sentences about yourself. Choose from, used a computer, traveled by bus, eaten any fruit, been to the cinema, read a book, lost anything, and adverbs like today, this week, recently, for ages, since. Now write a few sentences about your own experiences. Here are some examples. The first sentence, I haven't used a computer today. We use present perfect negative. We form the negative by placing not, or its contraction, haven't, after the auxiliary have. Adverbial time today indicates the period from the start of the day up until now. This shows that, within the current day, the experience of using a computer has not occurred. Why and when to use it. O time frame. The sentence covers a limited period, today. It tells the listener that during this day, the speaker hasn't performed that action. O situation. This might be used when someone is discussing their daily routine or explaining why they are unfamiliar with a computer-related task today. O connection to present. Even if the speaker usually uses a computer, today has been an exception. The second sentence, I haven't traveled by bus this week. We use present perfect negative. Again, we use haven't to indicate that the action has not occurred. Adverbial time. This week. This week covers the period from the beginning of the week until now, indicating that within this time frame, the action of traveling by bus hasn't taken place. Why and when to use it. O time frame. The sentence covers a week-long period, which might be relevant in discussions about daily commuting, travel habits, or changes in routine. O situation. For instance, someone might mention this if they usually take the bus but have used another form of transport recently, or if they're comparing their current week to previous ones. O implication. It indicates that although traveling by bus is possible, it hasn't happened during this particular week. All right, let's do exercise 8.3. Write 4 sentences about yourself. Choose from, used a computer, traveled by bus, eaten any fruit, been to the cinema, read a book, lost anything, and adverbs like today, this week, recently, for ages, since. Now write a few sentences about your own experiences. Here are some examples. The first sentence, I haven't used a computer today. We use present perfect negative. We form the negative by placing not, or its contraction, haven't, after the auxiliary have. Adverbial time today indicates the period from the start of the day up until now. This shows that, within the current day, the experience of using a computer has not occurred. Why and when to use it. O time frame. The sentence covers a limited period, today. It tells the listener that during this day, the speaker hasn't performed that action. O situation. This might be used when someone is discussing their daily routine or explaining why they are unfamiliar with a computer-related task today. O connection to present. Even if the speaker usually uses a computer, today has been an exception. The second sentence, I haven't traveled by bus this week. We use present perfect negative. Again, we use haven't to indicate that the action has not occurred. Adverbial time. This week. This week covers the period from the beginning of the week until now, indicating that within this time frame, the action of traveling by bus hasn't taken place. Why and when to use it? Time frame. The sentence covers a week-long period, which might be relevant in discussions about daily commuting, travel habits, or changes in routine. Situation. For instance, someone might mention this if they usually take the bus but have used another form of transport recently, or if they're comparing their current week to previous ones. Implication. It indicates that although traveling by bus is possible, it hasn't happened during this particular week. In the third sentence, I haven't eaten any fruit recently, you see the present perfect negative. The auxiliary have is negated by not, contracted to haven't, showing that the action hasn't occurred. Adverb recently refers to an unspecified time period in the near past, highlighting that during the recent past, the action of eating fruit did not occur. Why and when to use it? Time frame. Recently does not specify an exact period, but generally means in the near past. Situation. This sentence might be used in contexts such as discussing dietary habits, or if someone is trying to indicate that they have not had a healthy meal or snack lately. Emphasis. It connects the past with the present by showing that the lack of this action, eating fruit, has a current relevance, perhaps in discussing energy levels or nutrition. The fourth sentence, I haven't read a book for ages. We use time expression for ages is an informal phrase, meaning for a very long time. It is used to emphasize that a significant period has passed without the action occurring. Why and when to use it? Time frame. This expression is used when the time period is indefinite, but clearly very long. Situation. You might use this sentence when discussing hobbies or changes in lifestyle, such as when you typically enjoy reading but haven't had the time or interest for a long period. Impact. It highlights that the absence of the action, reading a book, is not a recent development. It has been a prolonged absence. Overall points on using the negative. Present perfect. Connecting past and present. All these sentences show that a certain experience or action has not occurred within a specific time frame up to the present moment. Use of time. Expressions. Adverbs and phrases like today, this week, recently, and for ages provide context about the duration or specific period during which the action hasn't happened. Implication of change. Although the speaker may have engaged in these activities at other times, the present perfect negative emphasizes that in the current time frame, these experiences are missing. This can have implications for routines, habits, or even personal feelings about those gaps. Finally, let's move on to exercise 8.4. Read the situations and complete the sentences. Finally, let's complete sentences based on real-life situations. Listen carefully as we go through each one. The first situation. Jack is driving a car for the first time. Completed sentence. It's the first time he's driven a car. Why present perfect? The present perfect is used because Jack's experience of driving a car is being connected to his present feelings, in this case nervousness, and his current situation. It indicates that until now, Jack had not experienced driving a car, but now he is doing it. When to use it? Use this form when emphasizing that something is happening for the first time in someone's life, even though the actual event might just be beginning. It's common in situations where a new experience creates noticeable emotions or reactions, like nervousness. Real-life context. Imagine a scenario where Jack is about to take his driving lesson. The sentence, it's the first time he's driven a car, not only states the fact, but also helps explain why Jack might be feeling anxious. The emphasis on first time makes it clear that this is a new, potentially overwhelming experience for him. The second situation. Some children at the zoo are looking at a giraffe for the first time. Completed sentence. It's the first time they've seen a giraffe. Why present perfect? The present perfect is used to express that up until this moment, the children had never had the experience of seeing a giraffe. It connects the past, the entire history of the children's experiences, with the present moment when they are actually looking at the giraffe. When to use it. This structure is ideal for describing experiences in environments like zoos or museums, where new discoveries evoke excitement or wonder. It is used when a previous lack of experience is contrasted with a current experience. Real-life context. Picture a group of children on a school trip to the zoo. When they finally see a giraffe, one might comment, "It's the first time they've seen a giraffe." This statement not only informs others about their inexperience, but also emphasizes the significance of the moment for them. The third situation. Sue is riding a horse but doesn't look confident. Completed sentence. She hasn't ridden a horse before. Why present perfect? The present perfect negative is used to state that at no point in the past, up until now, has Sue experienced riding a horse. When to use it. Use this form to explain why someone may be unsure or unskilled in an activity. It is effective in contexts where the absence of previous experience is noticeable by the person's behavior. Real-life context. Consider a scenario at a riding school where Sue, a beginner, appears nervous on horseback. Saying she hasn't ridden a horse before explains her uncertainty and highlights that she is new to the experience. This sentence makes it clear that her behavior is due to inexperience, not unwillingness. The second situation. Some children at the zoo are looking at a giraffe for the first time. Completed sentence. It's the first time they've seen a giraffe. Why present perfect? The present perfect is used to express that up until this moment, the children had never had the experience of seeing a giraffe. It connects the past, the entire history of the children's experiences, with the present moment when they are actually looking at the giraffe. When to use it. This structure is ideal for describing experiences in environments like zoos or museums, where new discoveries evoke excitement or wonder. It is used when a previous lack of experience is contrasted with a current experience. Real-life context. Picture a group of children on a school trip to the zoo. When they finally see a giraffe, one might comment, "It's the first time they've seen a giraffe." This statement not only informs others about their inexperience, but also emphasizes the significance of the moment for them. The third situation. Sue is riding a horse but doesn't look confident. Completed sentence. She hasn't ridden a horse before. Why present perfect? The present perfect negative is used to state that at no point in the past, up until now, has Sue experienced riding a horse. When to use it. Use this form to explain why someone may be unsure or unskilled in an activity. It is effective in contexts where the absence of previous experience is noticeable by the person's behavior. Real-life context. Consider a scenario at a riding school where Sue, a beginner, appears nervous on horseback. Saying she hasn't ridden a horse before explains her uncertainty and highlights that she is new to the experience. This sentence makes it clear that her behavior is due to inexperience, not unwillingness. The fourth situation. Joe and Lisa are on holiday in Japan. They have been there once before. Completed sentence. This is the second time they've been to Japan. Why present perfect? The present perfect is used to connect their past visit with the current holiday experience. It implies that their previous experience of visiting Japan is still relevant and informs their current experience. When to use it. This construction is useful when discussing repeated experiences or when comparing a current event with a previous one. It is often used in travel contexts to show that someone has visited a place more than once. Real-life context. Imagine Joe and Lisa are enjoying their holiday in Japan, and someone asks if they're visiting for the first time. By replying, "This is the second time they've been to Japan," it not only informs others of their travel history, but also suggests they might be familiar with the place. The statement carries implications about their preferences or comfort with the destination. The fifth situation. Emily is staying at the Prince Hotel again. Completed sentence. It's not the first time she's stayed at this hotel. Why present perfect? The present perfect is used because it connects Emily's past experiences at the hotel with her current stay. The phrase, "not the first time," explicitly indicates that she has stayed there previously. When to use it. This form is ideal when you want to stress familiarity or recurring experiences. It is often used in contexts involving accommodation, services, or recurring events. Real-life context. If someone notices Emily at the hotel and remarks on her comfort or familiarity with the place, you might say, "It's not the first time she's stayed at this hotel." This suggests that she's chosen this hotel before, indicating trust or satisfaction with the service. Situation. Ben is playing tennis for the first time and is a complete beginner. Completed sentence. He hasn't played tennis before. Why present perfect? The present perfect is used to indicate that up until now, Ben has not had any experience with tennis. The negative form emphasizes that this is his very first attempt, which explains why he might be struggling or unsure. When to use it. Use this sentence when explaining why someone might appear unfamiliar with a sport or activity. It's common in instructional or introductory settings where a beginner is learning a new skill. Real-life context. Picture Ben on a tennis court during a lesson. His awkward movements and hesitations are explained by the sentence, "He hasn't played tennis before." This gives the listener insight into his inexperience, and it sets the stage for understanding his learning process. Overall, insights on the use of present perfect in these situations. Connecting past to present. In all these examples, the present perfect, or its negative form, is used to show that past experiences, or lack thereof, have a direct influence on the present situation. This is why the exact timing isn't mentioned. The emphasis is on the fact of the experience itself. Expressing novelty and repetition. Phrases like, "the first time" and "not the first time" are paired with the present perfect to highlight whether an experience is new or has occurred before. This construction is very useful in storytelling or explaining behaviors. Real-life relevance. Each example ties an individual's past experiences to their current state, whether it's nervousness, curiosity, or familiarity. This connection makes the present perfect a powerful tool for sharing life experiences and explaining why someone acts a certain way today. That wraps up our deep dive into the present perfect exercises from page 17 of Raymond Murphy's English Grammar in Use. Today, we explored how to ask about experiences using ever, complete responses with the correct verbs, write about your own experiences, and complete real-life situations. Practice these exercises and try making up your own sentences to solidify your understanding. The present perfect isn't just about grammar, it's about connecting your past with your present. If you found this lesson helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe for more engaging English lessons. Thanks for watching, and keep practicing. Now, let's move on to watching the podcast about the present perfect.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of the present perfect tense and how it connects our past experiences with our present. It's like unlocking a door between two time periods.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a cool concept. What really struck me was how the video script explains the building blocks of present perfect, using have or has plus the past participle. It's so straightforward yet so deep, right?
Exactly. It's like we have these two parts, the auxiliary verb have, has, and the past participle, such as eaten, been, or ridden. This pattern, it's like a blueprint that shows that the action happened at some unspecified time in the past, but still matters now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really liked how they illustrated it with examples. For instance, I have eaten lunch clearly shows that the action is complete but connected to now. Like maybe you're not hungry anymore. That's the
Definitely.
genius of the present perfect.
Exactly. And then there's the conversation between Dave and Jane in the animation. When Jane says, "I've been to lots of places," it's a perfect natural example of using the present perfect to talk about life experiences without pinning down an exact moment.
For sure. Yes. And that connection to the present is what makes it so useful in daily conversation. But sometimes I wonder, wouldn't it be simpler to just use the simple past in certain contexts?
That's a good point. Well, the script makes it clear why we prefer present perfect sometimes. The simple past, like "I ate dinner," pinpoints a specific moment, whereas "I have eaten dinner" leaves time open so it can affect things like saying, "I'm full right now."
Right, exactly. I appreciate that nuance. It really shows how grammar isn't just about rules, it's about meaning and context. And then, moving on, the video gets into those exercises with ever. How neat
Absolutely.
is that?
Yeah, so when we ask, "Have you ever ridden a horse?" we're talking about the entire span of someone's life, not just a specific moment. It's like asking, "Have you ever ventured into something new?" And it opens the conversation to exciting experiences.
Right. It really broadens the scope and makes you reflect on all those moments you might have forgotten. And then there are the examples about, say, have you ever been to California? It ties the idea of travel
Exactly,
with
yeah.
life experiences.
And it's not just travel, right? They also have a question like, "Have you ever run a marathon?" That one is amazing because it goes beyond mere action. It implies endurance, a major life challenge, and using run as both the base form and past participle is just
Yeah, very
neat
cool.
in its irregularity.
I also noticed that they tackle the use of negative forms like, I haven't read a book for ages. It really underscores that the absence of an action can also be as meaningful as its
Absolutely,
presence.
ma'am. Right? So when you say, "I haven't read a book for ages," you're not just telling someone about a habit. You're explaining a gap in your routine that might connect to, say, a breakup with a beloved hobby. And it shows, continuity between past and present.
Right, yeah. One part that I found really interesting was the section about completing situational sentences. Like, it's the first time he's driven a car. That's such a clear signal for a new experience.
Yes, indeed. For sure. And it's these first time statements that really highlight the beauty of the present perfect. It captures that moment where something new is happening and ties it to all previous times when it hadn't happened, explaining the nervousness or excitement.
Completely. Although, if I'm being a bit critical here, sometimes I feel that overusing the present perfect might lead to a loss of clarity about when exactly something occurred. What do you think about that?
That's a valid point. I agree a little, but I'd say it's more like the ambiguity is the point. The present perfect is there to stress that the exact time is irrelevant. I mean, you wouldn't say, "I have been to California last year," because that mixes time specifics with a tense designed for indefinite timing.
Right, I get that. Yeah, totally true. It's about the impact on the present rather than the stamp of time. And then there's the exercise where you fill in the right verb forms. It's such a hands-on practice. It's like training your brain through repetition of
Exactly,
these
yeah.
forms.
Right, the practice exercises really drive home the construction. For example, when you're asked to complete "I eat sushi before," the answer "have eaten" solidifies that connection between past actions and current states.
Absolutely. And that also teaches you the difference between experience-related usage and situation-specific details. It makes your language fluid, but also structured.
Definitely. What's really cool is how the video transitions from asking about experiences with ever to filling in situational sentences. In the situation where Jack is driving for the first time, saying it's the first time he's driven a car isn't just grammar, it's storytelling.
True story. It really is storytelling. And those examples about children at the zoo or Emily at the hotel provide a vivid, relatable context. You can immediately picture the scenario, and it shows that grammar lessons can be interesting narratives.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an engaging way to connect theory with real life. And I was impressed with how they stress the importance of context, like using for ages, this week, or recently, to indicate that the experience is relevant to our present state. This really makes it easier to connect with everyday experiences and talk about them naturally.
Right, exactly. Right, it's like these time adverbs are the glue that holds the past and present together in your conversation. And then there's the part on advice or mild rebuke, like when someone's late to work, don't be late every day this week. That's a neat shift to using present simple advice against a backdrop of repeated present perfect observations.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That shift is so subtle, yet it shows a broader command of the language. The video is really rich, offering examples and then even asking the viewers to create their own sentences, like, I haven't used a computer today. That kind of exercise bridges theory with practical application.
Yep. And it's a great way to internalize the rules. When you write about your own experiences, you're not just memorizing patterns, you're integrating them into your own narrative. It's like learning music. You have to practice to really play the tune.
Exactly, very on point. Yeah, exactly. And then the detailed breakdowns of the rules, like explaining why the time isn't specified in present perfect, really sets it apart from the simple past. It's a lesson in emphasizing the perpetual relevance of our experiences.
Right, it's a subtle but important difference. Speaking of subtle differences, I appreciated the clear structure when it discussed the differences between I have eaten dinner and I ate dinner. It's a great reminder that the present perfect speaks to a present state influenced by the past, while the simple past is, well, just about the past.
Yes, spot on. Definitely. And that ties back to the idea that when we talk about experiences, the exact timing isn't as relevant as the fact that these experiences or absence of them impact us right now. It really adds a layer of emotional and contextual depth to our language.
I love how, through this methodical breakdown, the video empowers learners to not just know the rules, but also to express their own stories. Using the present perfect to narrate experiences transforms grammar from a set of stiff rules to a living tapestry of moments.
Well said. Yeah, and I find it fascinating that even something as simple as the present perfect carries so much nuance. For example, when someone says, it has happened twice this month, it immediately tells you it's a recurring issue that still impacts the present.
Right. And that kind of insight is exactly what makes the exercise component, where you choose between have and had, so practical. It's all about understanding the causal link between what happened and where we stand now.
Exactly. And then there's the creative challenge at the end where you write your own sentences using negative forms like, I haven't traveled by bus this week, or I haven't eaten any fruit recently. That really drives home the idea of expressing gaps in your experiences for personal reflection.
Indeed. It reminds me a bit of how we all sometimes look back and say, I haven't done this in ages. It's a gentle way of pointing out what's missing, and it can really add context to our current lives.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, those expressions not only highlight absence, but also emphasize that the present is colored by our past gaps, letting us explain why we might feel unprepared or unfamiliar with certain experiences.
Absolutely. I also find it interesting that the video ties grammatical structure with real-life situations, like describing emotions such as nervousness or excitement when experiencing something for the first time. It really bridges the gap between theory and personality.
Totally, exactly. Right, and that connection creates a more engaging learning experience. It's like rather than just memorizing rules, you're being invited to see your life through a new grammatical lens. That's both empowering and
Yeah, absolutely.
inspiring, don't you think?
For sure, though I will throw a little challenge here. In some parts, the explanation might seem overwhelming with a lot of details. Do you think there's a risk of learners getting bogged down by the technicalities?
That's a fair critique. I see your point, and honestly, it could be a lot at once. But I believe the segmentation into different exercises, first with ever, then filling in the blanks, and finally crafting personal sentences, helps mitigate that. It gives learners time to absorb and then immediately apply what they've learned.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right, because breaking it down step by step is like easing into a cold pool, not jumping in all at once, but gradually letting the body adjust to the temperature.
Exactly, very true. Absolutely. And the recap at the end of the video where they say keep practicing is such a humble yet powerful reminder that language mastery is a continuous journey.
Totally, yeah. I love that part. It highlights that every little exercise, every repeated sentence builds towards a fuller, more natural command of English. It also encourages a mindset of lifelong learning.
Absolutely right. Indeed, and that's the beauty of this approach. It's not just about getting the grammar right, it's about integrating it into who you are as a speaker, as a person, and even as a storyteller.
Right, yeah. I think this conversation really showcases how mastering the present perfect is essential for expressing our continuous and evolving experience of the world. It's a little piece of linguistic art that connects yesterday with today.
Exactly. Well said. And I hope that by unpacking these concepts today, listeners feel a bit more confident about using the present perfect, whether they're chatting about travel, emotions, or even their latest challenges.
Absolutely, indeed. Yeah, for anyone feeling overwhelmed by the details, just remember that each exercise builds your intuition. Your experiences are vivid, and grammar should serve to convey them, not constrain them.
Right on. Totally. And that's what makes this lesson so engaging. It transforms what could be a dry rule into a vibrant tool for self-expression. Whether you're saying, I haven't traveled by bus this week, or this is the first time I've driven a car, you're sharing a part of your life story.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. And with that, I think we've covered the major points, from structure and usage to practical exercises and real-life examples. This deep dive into the present perfect really shows how powerful a little grammatical nuance can be.
Exactly. Right. And I hope everyone listening feels inspired to practice and explore these patterns in their own conversations. Thanks for joining me on this grammatical journey, and keep celebrating the connection between past and present through language.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time, keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep connecting your past to your present through your unique story.
Yeah, for sure.